What if I told you that in Lord of Mysteries, you could completely change your supernatural powers halfway through your journey to godhood? But here's the twist. One wrong move, and your mind shatters into 1,000 pieces. Sounds insane? That's because it is. Also, warning, major spoilers ahead. Alright, picture this. You're a Beyonder. You've spent years climbing the sequences, drinking potions that could literally make you go insane, fighting monsters, completing crazy rituals, all to gain godlike powers. You're committed to your pathway. Let's say you're walking the death pathway, becoming a corpse collector, then a spirit medium, working your way up. But then something happens. Maybe you fail promotion. Maybe you realize your pathway's high-level ritual requires you to do something absolutely evil. Maybe you just can't find the materials you need to advance further. You're stuck. Your dream of becoming a god, dead in the water. But wait, there's a secret. A terrifying, dangerous secret that only high-sequence Beyonders know about. You can switch pathways. Yeah, you heard that right. You can literally abandon your current supernatural path and jump to a different one. Now, before you think this is some overpowered cheat code, let me hit you with a reality check. This isn't like switching your major in college. This is like trying to rewrite your DNA while you're still alive. One mistake, and you don't just die. You become something worse than death itself. Let me explain how this actually works because the mechanics are wild. First rule, you can only switch at high sequences. For most pathways, that means sequence 4 or higher. That's the demigod level, folks. We're talking about being powerful enough to level cities, manipulate reality, and fight angels. Getting to sequence 4 alone is insanely difficult. Most Beyonders die before they even reach sequence 7. So right off the bat, this option is locked behind a wall that 99% of people will never climb. But here's where it gets even crazier. If you're on one of the Lore of Mysteries group pathways, that's the Fool, the Door, or the Error pathway, you can't switch until sequence 3. That's right, 3. At that point, you're basically a walking catastrophe, one step away from true godhood. The universe itself demands more commitment from you if you want to play with the powers of mystery, time, and deception. Second rule, you can only switch to neighboring pathways. And this is super important. The 22 pathways in Lord of Mysteries aren't random. They're organized into 9 major groups, and each group is controlled by a different cosmic entity, what they call above-the-sequence beings. Let me give you examples so this makes sense. The Eternal Darkness group has 3 pathways: Darkness, Death, and Twilight Giant. If you're a high-sequence Death pathway Beyonder, you can switch to either Darkness or Twilight Giant. Why? Because all 3 pathways share similar themes: night, rest, spirits, death, and warriors who guard the boundary between life and the afterlife. The God Almighty group is even bigger. It includes 5 pathways: Visionary, Sun, Tyrant, White Tower, and Hangman. These 5 can all potentially switch between each other at high sequences because they all fall under the authority of the original creator's split personality. The Calamity of Destruction group has Demoness and Red Priest. Both are all about bringing disaster, war, and chaos. So if you're a high-sequence Demoness and you can't stomach the evil rituals required to advance, guess what? You might be able to switch to Red Priest, which is still violent, but in a different way. Here's something absolutely crazy. The Wheel of Fortune pathway has no neighbors. It stands completely alone. If you want to switch to or for Monster pathway, you need to first jump to a Bridge pathway, which means switching twice. That's double the risk, double the chance of losing your mind. Now let me tell you about the most famous example of pathway switching in the entire series: Ince Zangwill. Ince was an archbishop of the Church of Evernight, walking the death pathway. He reached sequence 5, becoming a gatekeeper. Incredibly powerful, able to control spirits and manipulate the boundary between life and death. But when he tried to advance to sequence 4, he failed. And in the world of Beyonders, failure doesn't mean you just try again. It means your path forward is blocked, possibly forever. So what did Ince do? He stole the ashes of Saint Selena, a sacred relic, and used them to switch from the death pathway to the darkness pathway, also called Sleepless, at lower sequences. This worked because both death and darkness are neighboring pathways under the Eternal Darkness group. They share enough divine authority that the switch didn't immediately destroy him. But here's the cost. Ince became a traitor. The Church of Evernight hunted him. His former allies became his enemies. He went from respected archbishop to desperate fugitive, all because he chose to switch pathways. The power came with total isolation. So let's talk about why someone would even attempt this insanity. What are the actual benefits? Benefit number 1, you get a second chance. If your original pathway hits a dead end, maybe you failed a ritual, maybe you can't find the materials, maybe the next sequence requires you to commit genocide, switching gives you an escape route. It's a lifeline when you've got no other options. Benefit number 2, power optimization. Maybe your original pathway doesn't suit your fighting style. Maybe you're in a situation where different abilities would help you survive. By switching to a neighboring pathway, you can gain powers that fit your circumstances better. It's strategic adaptation at the highest level. Benefit number 3, Your original characteristics don't disappear. They mutate and combine with your new pathway, potentially giving you hybrid abilities. You're not losing your investment. You're transforming it. If you survive, you might end up with unique powers nobody else has. Benefit number 4, political flexibility. In a world where pathways often determine your allies and enemies, switching can help you escape a bad situation. Maybe your church is corrupt. Maybe your organization is hunting you. Switching pathways can give you a fresh start, assuming you can find a new group to take you in. But now, and listen carefully, let me tell you why pathway switching is one of the most dangerous things you can do in the entire Lord of Mysteries universe. Danger number 1, the sequence requirement. You need to reach sequence 4 or sequence 3 for certain pathways. The vast majority of Beyonders never get there. The rituals are brutal, the materials are rare, and the risk of losing control increases with every advancement. You might spend your entire life trying to reach the point where switching is even possible. Danger number 2. If you try to switch before reaching high sequences, you're basically committing suicide. The incompatible divine authorities will rip your mind apart. Best case scenario, you go half mad, losing parts of your humanity and memories. Worst case, you turn into a corrupted monster with zero consciousness, a mindless abomination that needs to be put down. This isn't a headache. This is your soul fragmenting into pieces. Danger number 3. You're extremely limited in your options. You can only switch to neighboring pathways in the same group. If you're on a pathway with no neighbors, or if the neighboring pathways don't suit your needs, you're out of luck. You can't just pick whatever sounds cool. The universe's rules are absolute. Danger number 4. The acting method problem. You've spent years learning how to embody your current pathway's philosophy. The death pathway teaches you to see yourself as a gatekeeper between life and death. The sleepless pathway teaches you to be a guardian of the night and protector of the sleeping. These are completely different mindsets. When you switch, you need to learn a whole new way of thinking, a new identity, new acting methods to digest your potion. If you can't adapt fast enough, the foreign authority will overwhelm you. Madness, loss of control, death. Danger number 5. You need the actual Beyonder characteristics. Even if you meet all the requirements and you're willing to take the risk, you still need the physical materials from your target pathway. These aren't lying around at a shop. They're controlled by churches, secret organizations, and ancient families. Getting them usually means theft, murder, or making deals with entities you don't want to owe favors to. Danger number 6. The political fallout is massive. Remember what Emperor Roselle wrote in his diary? Once you choose your pathway, it pretty much confirms your allies and your enemies. When you switch pathways, you're not just changing your powers, you're changing your entire political alignment. Your former allies might see you as a traitor. Your new pathway's organizations might not trust you. You could end up hunted by both sides, like Ince Zangwill, running for your life with nowhere to turn. And here's danger number 7, the one nobody talks about: psychological trauma. Your pathway isn't just a power system, it's your identity. It shapes how you see the world, how you think, how you act. Switching pathways is like forcibly rewriting your personality while staying conscious through the whole process. Even if you survive physically, who's to say you'll still be you on the other side? There's also something fascinating happening in the sequel, Circle of Inevitability. There's a character named Franca, who's a sequence 6 demoness. Fans are speculating that she might switch to the Hunter pathway later because both Demoness and Red Priest fall under the Calamity of Destruction group. They're neighbors. Why would she switch? Because the Demoness pathway's high-sequence rituals probably require mass murder and causing disasters. If Franca has any morals left, she want to avoid that. But switching would mean abandoning her current identity and taking on the aggressive, combat-focused Hunter pathway instead. It's a perfect example of the impossible choice pathway switching represents. So here's what pathway switching really represents in Lord of Mysteries. It's a mirror reflecting the series' core philosophy. This isn't a power fantasy where you can mix and match abilities for fun. This is a brutal, realistic system where every choice has devastating consequences. Pathway switching asks you a fundamental question. How far are you willing to go to gain power? Are you willing to risk your sanity, your humanity, your very identity for a chance at advancement? Are you willing to become a traitor to everyone who trusted you? Are you willing to potentially stop being yourself just to take one more step toward godhood? And here's the thing that makes Lord of Mysteries brilliant. There's no right answer. For Ince Zangwill, switching was the only way forward, even though it destroyed his life. For most Beyonders, attempting to switch would be suicide. For Klein, who has access to the uniqueness of Sapphira Castle and can accommodate multiple authorities, switching becomes a chess piece in a cosmic game. The beauty is that the story respects its own rules. It doesn't give you easy outs. It doesn't let you cheat the system without paying the price. Every power comes with a cost, and pathway switching might have the highest cost of all. So I'll leave you with this. In a world where the path to godhood is already paved with madness and death, would you risk switching pathways? Would you gamble your sanity for a second chance? Or would you accept your limitations and find another way forward? Think about it. Because in Lord of Mysteries, the choices you make don't just determine your power, they determine whether you remain human at all.